let's jump into it. I want to first
Okay.
have you introduce yourself and learn more about your background and obviously your various areas of expertise.
Oh my God, my
So,
back could be like 10 hours. Or
true.
you might want to rein me in on that one.
Just give us the high points.
My background, wow, I have a master's in marketing, many years of public relations experience. I'm an author of 2 books in the dating realm. I am now involved in theater and highly passionate about that. I'm a mom of a 15-year-old boy, which feels like a job at times
Yeah.
as well.
Amen.
Yes, exactly. I'm the founder of a website for dating and singles, lovecoach.com. I also wear that hat as a coach, offering strategic advice to singles about where to go and what to do and how to socialize in a more productive manner. And I started an organization for moms, motherhoodlater.com, which is a website, organization, blog, and resource for those who became moms at age 35 plus.
Mm. Wonderful. Yeah, and I was on that and did a guest post on that blog. I love that blog because there's so much that they don't tell you about being a mom later and the challenges around that. So thank you for doing that.
Oh, you're welcome. I was talking to someone the other day who said to me, like, what do you think is new in that realm? Or what do you think hasn't been addressed so much? And I mentioned to her the experience that I had years ago when my son was young, when somebody asked me if I was the mom or the grandmom, when I was walking out of a bathroom in my local diner, which I felt was my safe, comfortable place, and he was just 5. And I had no idea what to say. And I thought, okay, there's really no good response. If I say I'm the grandmom, well, then what? If I say I'm the mom, like, okay, so where are we going with that? So I basically said, I'm not going to answer that. And I walked out the door and I thought, okay, that wasn't very pithy, Robin. And I'm not going to get you any friends, in the later mom realm. So I was so glad that I, luckily at that point, had already launched Motherhood Later, because I do think there's strength in numbers. And sometimes you don't realize the village either that you're lacking or that you need until something like that happens to you. And I mentioned this to the gal I met the other day, and she was kind of shocked. And I said, there's still judgment.
So much judgment. Yeah. And it comes at all, it comes around your age. It comes around, for me, I find it comes around having, more than 2.3 children. It comes around, I know I've talked to my husband about his concerns when we were living down south about people thinking that his kids weren't his kids because of, the fact that we are all different shades in our family. So it's so important to have community to help navigate through the judgment and, the discomfort that other people have with anybody who goes outside the norm. And that's so important for what we do in MomStar too, because so much of following your dreams often is just challenging what's acceptable, challenging what has been done repeatedly, and doing something because you feel called to do it and not necessarily because it's what you're supposed to do. So I feel like you're providing that community around becoming a mother later in life, which it's so important to have that support and other people who are like, not only is it okay to do it, but you can be really successful and it can be really fun and empowering to, have exactly the family you want, whatever time you want it. So it's really important, I think.
Absolutely. And it's a personal choice. And I think parenting is hard no matter how old you are. And I think there's different things that might arise at different ages that you encounter, but no one deserves judgment, no matter what they're doing, or unless they're being a lousy parent. And that's it.
Judge away.
Yeah, exactly. Bring on the support in that case. But otherwise, we're all doing the best we can. And it's a tough job.
Yeah, exactly. So can you talk a little bit about the ways that your work supports moms in having a better quality of life? So, sure. I mean, I think certainly the community that you're creating, but, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a bunch of ways. One of them is to actually connect people physically. We have chapters all over the world that actually do events, so people can get together and meet each other, which is great. We also have strong communities on Facebook, for example. We have a private group and a public community, so people can join and share there, because we don't have chapters in every town. So at least there's a way to connect that way. And people can start chapters as well. We don't charge for that either.
Oh, so great. That's so great.
And and we would support somebody's effort if they chose to do that. And we have our blog where moms share, and we very much invite contributors for that. And we profile different women like every other month on our site. So we're really about empowerment, being a resource for people, and for people to know they're not alone. And at the end of the day, sometimes it's just as simple as that, to know that your choice is validated. And lately, I've actually been getting a number of inquiries from aspiring moms who know that they're
nice.
already, yes, they're already getting close to the age of 35 and either are just now pregnant or are not pregnant and maybe not even with somebody yet. And it helps them just to know of our mere existence. And some of them asked to actually talk to moms. Lately, I feel like a mom pen pal.
Yeah.
Like connecting people. Yeah. And it feels really good. It's very gratifying to me. And a bunch of single moms have also reached out lately too.
That's
like
great.
Later in life moms who made that choice to go it alone. So it's just really feels good for me to know that we can be there to make them realize that it can be done. First of all, and that there are other people who have done it, and we can connect you with them.
Yeah, we have that subset of our community too that are people who know that motherhood is in their future. And so they're starting to pursue this idea of challenging the myth that you have to put all your dreams aside when you become a mom, because they're now thinking about becoming a mom, and maybe they put it off because they wanted to make sure that they got it all in before they started embarking on, plans for becoming a mother. And, I think it's really great to be able to start those conversations about challenging those ideas that we have about what it means to be a mom before we become a mom. Because I know for me, the first few years of motherhood were really hard because I was trying so hard to fit myself into this box that people were saying you had to stay in when you're a mom, which now, of course, we realize was, an illusion. So.
Right. And I think some people also want to know from the inquiries that I've gotten is how can they prepare? So to speak, like what would it help them to know? What do we wish we knew?
Yeah.
And, refer them to people. They really kind of doing their homework.
Yeah. And I think there are more and more books and resources, movies. I don't know if you saw Tully, which came out with Charlize Theron, which was a really interesting depiction of like the darker side of new motherhood, like the kind of ugly, make you crazy, make you like put pockets in your, stones in your pockets and walk into the ocean kind of parts of motherhood that that nobody wants to talk about,
Right.
We don't do that, but of course, and then when we feel that, we feel so guilty that we have even a moment, where we feel like that. But it's so natural. Your hormones are going crazy, and it's harder than anybody tells you that it is. So.
Oh gosh, yeah, and the hormone component is huge. I mean, I'm a later mom, so we talk about hormones a lot.
All right.
Yeah, and it's reaching menopause, and my hormones are raging. My son's hormones are raging. My husband. His story is I don't even want to go there with that. So we're already a hormone-full house.
Right.
And it's tough because you don't know, like, especially when you're reaching menopause. Like,
oh my gosh.
Today? What Robin is going to present herself today?
I know. That's how
Robin,
we are.
Irritable Robin, sleep deprived Robin, whatever. And you're mothering through it all. And the last thing I want to discuss is menopause with my son. So I just, kind of try to tread lightly in that department. Let's put it that way.
But having that community of other people, like even right now, just hearing you say that, there's a little part of me that's like, oh, so just knowing that I'm not alone and that others are going through it and getting through it is helpful.
Oh,
it's really,
absolutely.
really helpful.
And I have a boy, so this is, a whole other experience for me because I don't know what it feels like to be a boy. It is a whole different arena.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
So I definitely consider you to be a MomStar because I know so much of your story and so much of the amazing things that you have done while you've been in the process of raising your kids, which is an amazing example to them of what you can achieve before, during, parenthood doesn't matter. Do you consider yourself to be a MomStar? And if so, why?
I like to think that I'm inspiring to women. I think that I have reinvented more than once. And years ago, I was working in PR, and that was my career. And then I just for an agency in the city. And then I decided to leave and start my own PR consultation, which I still do. And I could have built that into a real firm, but I decided I didn't want to focus just on that because I've always been a multitasker, you know, for better or worse.
Yes.
Very type A here. So I wrote my first book, which was How to Meet a Mensch in New York. And a mensch is a decent, responsible person. And I started doing lectures and going out there and making all kinds of media appearances. And the press was really more than I ever saw coming for that book, which was amazing. So that led to another book, which was How to Marry a Mensch. And from all of that, it kind of evolved into my becoming a love coach for singles, because one of my friends actually said to me, you know, you could talk to 1 million people till the cows come home, but everyone's story is different. Everyone's path is different. Everyone's needs are different. Maybe you need to address that one-on-one with someone. And I thought, oh, that is cool, because I would love to kind of get in there, you know, a little more and really make a difference for people individually. So, but I didn't know what to call that. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a matchmaker. You know, what does that look like? So I came up with the phrase love coach, and I actually think I might have coined it, although I can't prove it, but I have the domain lovecoach.com. And I started working, you know, one-on-one with singles. So that, you know, was one thing that resulted. And then from that, I became a mom, and then I launched Motherhood Later because I started to feel different as a later in life mom. So that was kind of my next foray. And now I have been involved in theater for the past, I guess it's about maybe 5 years or so. I started to see a trend. It kind of started with my mom's website. There was a lot of shows. It felt like for a while launching with mom themes, whether here or elsewhere. There was some in California as well. And I just thought it was really cool. And like, you know, what's that about? And everybody knows that the primary ticket buyer for shows is women over 40, which is my complete audience. So I started working with a lot of the marketing theatrical firms and social media and PR firms as well to create programs to help promote some of the shows that were interested in targeting my audience. So I kind of segued into theater through that. And then I've been writing theater reviews for many years for my website, motherhoodlater.com. And I've written theater pieces for a few other places. And then from all of that, I got involved in producing, which was interesting to me because I really didn't see that coming. And that's
yeah.
I don't think I've seen anything coming, honestly. Look back on it, with all the choices that I made, maybe the only thing I saw coming was that I think I always knew I wanted to write a book, but I certainly didn't know it was going to be a dating book. And I had no idea. I don't think that anything else was going to result that happened in my life after that, because I didn't plan to be a later in life mom. It happened. And I always loved theater, like my whole life, but I didn't necessarily plan to be a producer per se. I used to write theater reviews back in college, and now I'm actually a Tony Award nominated producer, which
amazing.
was because I've done Natasha Pierre in The Great Comet of 1812.
Of a Broadway show.
Yes. A musical that got the most Tony nominations last year of any musical. And
amazing.
I won the Tony Awards last year with my husband. And it was mind-blowing, the whole experience. And now I feel quite immersed in the theater community, and I love it, and I adore theater. I adore most of the people involved with it. And it just feels so good to support the arts and to be pursuing your passion in a way that feels meaningful, because theater, and you know, having done a one-woman show, theater changes lives, and it's a way to share messages and speak to the masses. And even if somebody can't attend a show per se, because unfortunately some of the shows have gotten quite expensive now, and part of that is because it costs a lot to produce. Unfortunately, I mean, it's not that shows are all about making money. They have really a lot of expenses to cover. But there are other ways, like there are now some streaming vehicles. I think some shows are actually being spun into movies. Hamilton is going to become a movie. You know, amazing. So I love that, you know, shows are becoming more conscious of ways to reach people who can't necessarily actually be in the theater. And now I'm developing with my producing partner a musical inspired by my books.
I can't wait.
Amazing. Yes, it's so surreal. I was actually approached a number of years ago by a Broadway producer, so I can't even take credit for the idea. It was his idea. And
Yeah.
he was my cheerleader. And again, one of those deals where I did not see this coming. This was never
It's
on
going to be so
me.
amazing.
I'm so excited. And he passed away, unfortunately. So
Mm.
the project got tabled for a bit. But now, because of my involvement in theater in the last couple of years, I met my producing partner. And now she and I are spearheading it and lead producing, which is my first
That's,
lead producing experience. So it's
oh,
like,
that's great.
holy smoke. But hugely, hugely exciting and time consuming and all of that. But I'm in my element. And when you're in your element, you just know it.
Yeah.
And but I worked to get here. And I think, what's important for moms is to believe in yourself,
Yep.
to, as you say, to know it's totally possible. But you know what? The universe is not going to drop it on your doorstep, honey.
No.
It just doesn't work that way. And so many people ask me, how did you get to this point? How are you doing theater? How are you producing? How? You know how? I made the decision. And yes, I put it out to the universe, and I absolutely believe in that. And not just putting it out, but really like stating it, having a plan, affirming. But once you do that, you have to physically get out, take the effort to meet people, talk to people, learn, share your desires. And that's how things happen.
Yes.
And I've learned, and I'm sure you have as well, that one of my biggest lessons is that you never know who knows who. You never know who can
That's
help
right.
you. You never know who you can learn from. Don't ever
That's
decide,
right.
don't ever be that person to say, you know what, I'm not going to tell so-and-so that this is something I desire because I don't think they'd be able to help me. Well, you really have no idea. So don't decide that for other people. Just put it out, just share whatever you need, whatever you're looking for, whatever you're doing. And then if things are meant to be, then yeah, they'll happen, supported by your hard work and effort behind it.
Yeah, that's such great advice. That's such good advice. And I'm listening because I fall into that trap sometimes of thinking, oh, I don't want to bother this person, or, I don't want to, and it's like I make myself small sometimes when I don't need to. And when I do finally share, the other person is so, honored to be able to be a part of whatever it is. And I don't think about it from that perspective, So, well,
That's
I consider you.
I learned. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I can, like, when I think of the components of a MomStar, which is dream big, your kids are watching, right? So you're definitely dreaming so much bigger than I would say probably 95% of the population of moms. Like, you dream so big, and your kids are watching, they are, your son is seeing everything that you're doing. And you and I both know that even if they act like they're just like on the computer or talking to their friends, they're taking notes. They're paying attention to everything we do. So,
well, especially
anyway,
as he's getting older, he's aware of when I'm not home, and he'll actually ask me now, like, so where were you last night?
Yes.
Like, doing? And 90% of the time I was at some kind of meeting relative to theater, whether it's my show or other shows that I'm involved with. And like the last 2 days, I was running around in the city, all kinds of meetings, taking in shows, going to readings and workshops and things. And so I love that he knows that I'm doing that, but it has enhanced our lives as a family so much, because my son is all boy and I'm not. Not only do I not know what it's like to be a boy, I'm so all girl that we really don't have a lot of commonality, in that. But we have theater.
Oh, nice.
I cultivated a love of theater in him, and he even did stage crew when he was in middle school.
Oh, cool.
So I love that I can take him to shows, that we can share we have a chance to have special experiences at times when we go to theater, because of the people that I know in the industry and the invitations that come my way. And he was so angry that we didn't take him to the Tonys. He said, don't worry. I said, I will go again.
Yes.
Said, I will be Tony nominated again for something, and you will come.
Oh, yeah, my gosh.
Too, so it will be better. But
yeah, and even having that conversation is basically saying, I'm going to achieve this dream. And so he's like just getting it in him that like you just assume that the dreams are going to be achieved, I mean, Definitely, definitely.
And
That's
I
awesome.
believe it. I'm not just saying it. I truly.
No, I know you do. I believe it too. I believe it on your behalf as well.
Thank you.
And you already have experience of seeing it, seeing it, knowing that it's possible, knowing that it's achievable. And that certainly helps.
Yeah.
Like when I start working with women in this whole realm of like dreaming really big, initially they just believe that I believe it. But then you just have to have one time where like you have this dream and it comes true. And then you're like, oh, wait a second. Now I have my personal experience. And so you have so much of that, so many times where you've, put something out there and it's come back and, flourished and done so well.
I believe that your passions can manifest. It's not a pipe dream. Like dream big for real.
Yeah, dream big for real. I like it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Robin. This was super fun. You know how much I love you, and how proud I am of everything that you're doing, and how grateful I am for all the support that you give for everything that we're doing.
Well, you're an amazing inspiration, and your story alone is unbelievable, and you're such a testament to the power of will and determination and talent and all of that. And more moms should look toward you as an example as well.
Thank you. Thanks.
It's true.
I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate you being here. And we'll talk next week.
Yes.